Right, Avenue. Okay, are you ready? Any extra के लिए? I don't know whether they expected a Satrina.
तू प्यार का सागर है, तू प्यार का सागर है, तेरी एक बूंद के प्यासे हम, तेरी एक बूंद के प्यासे हम, लौटा जो दिया तूने, लौटा जो दिया तूने, चले जाएंगे जहाँ से हम, चले जाएंगे जहाँ से हम, तू प्यार का सागर है, तू प्यार का सागर है, तेरी एक बूंद के प्यासे हम, तेरी एक बूंद के प्यासे हम, तू प्यार का सागर है। घायल मन का पागल पंछी उड़ने को बेकरार, उड़ने को बेकरार, पंख है कोमल, आँख है धुंधली, जाना है सागर पार, जाना है सागर पार, अब तू ही से समझा, अब तू ही से समझा, राह भूले थे कहाँ से हम, राह भूले थे कहाँ से हम, तू प्यार का सागर है, तेरी एक बूंद के प्यासे हम, तेरी एक बूंद के प्यासे हम, तू प्यार का सागर है। इधर झूम के गाए जिंदगी, उधर है मौत खरी, उधर है मौत खरी, कोई क्या जाने कहाँ है सीमा, उलझनान परी, उलझनान परी, कानों में जरा कह दे, कानों में जरा कह दे, किया ये कौन दिशा से हम, किया ये कौन दिशा से हम, तू प्यार का सागर है, तेरी एक बूंद के प्यासे हम।
Welcome, ladies and gentlemen. Namaste, assalamu alaikum, good evening, good night to all of you. And we are so pleased to have you at this program. That was a three-raise rendition of Tu Pyar Ka Sagar Hai, a spiritual song from the movie Seema from 1955, originally sung by Manna Dey and lyrics by Shailandra, music by Shankar Jai Kishan. So we want to wish everyone welcome to this program today. I am Shakira Mohammed of Trinidad and Tobago, a teacher for the past 17 years, and this is our 275th edition of our ICC Thought Leaders Forum. And we wish to sincerely thank all of you who have contributed in whatever way to the success of this ongoing Pan-Indo-Caribbean and Pan-Indian Diaspora Global Project. For 274 unbroken continuous weeks, we have been here every single Sunday, and in the past 5 years, 3 months, and 3 weeks, we have featured 1,109 presenters from all parts of the world speaking on 274 topics. Ladies and gentlemen, this is a weekly forum being hosted by the Indo-Caribbean Cultural Center, a legally registered research and publishing company operating since 2010. And in order to continue this weekly program and to make it bigger and better, we are kindly asking for suggestions and volunteers. If you give a donation, your name will be placed on our poster and all promotional materials, and you can contact Dr. Kumar Mahabir for details. I'll introduce our moderator today, who is Shalima Mohammed, the co-director of this ICC Zoom platform, who's a business teacher and researcher from Trinidad and Tobago. She obtained her master's degree in business psychology from Franklin University in the USA. Shalima, welcome.
Thanks so much, Shakir. Assalamu alaikum, everyone. Namaste, and a warm welcome to all of you. Thanks so much for choosing to be here with us. This program is being recorded on Zoom and live streamed on the YouTube channel of the Indo-Caribbean Cultural Center. Welcome to all of you on YouTube at this time. Just a gentle reminder that we need to avoid intrusions from trolls. As such, our IT manager has muted everyone. Speakers, please do not admit anyone, do not unmute anyone, and do not allow anyone to share your screen. Thank you so much for cooperating. Our program today is dedicated to the memory of someone who has become very, very dear to us. And this is community leader, Mr. Singh Singh of Verulam, South Africa. Today, we'll be talking about his life and legacies. We also want to pay tribute to Mr. Inshan Ismail, who died and was buried yesterday in Trinidad and Tobago. He was a social and political activist and a TV broadcaster. But today is about Mr. Singh. He was born in September of 1930, and on August 22nd, 2025, his soul peacefully began its cosmic journey. He was 94 years old, a life that spanned nearly a century, marked by both immense hardship and deep purpose. He was born into a humble family in South Africa. Mr. Singh knew poverty intimately, but he also knew the richness of a close-knit family and a resilient community. At just 18, he witnessed the institutionalization of apartheid, a cruel system of racial segregation that would shape much of his adult life. He endured the pain of forced relocation of his community, the anguish of seeing one of his sons imprisoned for standing against injustice, and the sorrow of losing his beloved wife to illness. Mr. Singh's pride in his roots ran deep. He held his indentured grandparents in the highest regard and made it his mission to preserve and honor the legacy of all those who arrived in 1860 as indentured laborers. His efforts were not just symbolic, they were tangible acts of remembrance and recognition. He played a key role in the founding of the 1860 Indentured Laborers Foundation in Verulam, and under his leadership, much was achieved, which you will hear about from our other speakers. Mr. Singh didn't just remember history, he made it. Today, as we reflect on his life, we honor not only his contributions, but also the spirit with which he lived. We will now hear from some of those persons who knew him well and who loved him the most. Ladies and gentlemen, let me introduce you to Mr. Bobby Piramal. After retiring in 1995 as a postmaster in whites-only areas during apartheid, he volunteered with various organizations, such as the 1860 Indentured Laborers Foundation, as the first treasurer. But he also knew Mr. Singh from childhood. Uncle Bobby?
Thank you. Thank you, Program Director. எல்லாருக்கும் என் அன்புள்ள கலந்த வணக்கம். Namaste, Namaskaram, Assalamu alaikum. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, and all the listeners in the diaspora, my humble greetings and salutations to you. Firstly, I want to thank the co-director of the Indo-Caribbean Cultural Center, Ms. Shalima Mohammed, and the director, Dr. Kumar Mahabir, for affording me the opportunity to share my thoughts about someone who had a profound impact on our community. Sharima, slide 1, please. Mr. J.S. Singh is the visionary, son of the soil, and a public-oriented person, ever willing to uplift the quality of life of those underprivileged. Slide 2, please. In 1943, our formative years were spent at the Amsterdam State Indian Primary School, where Mr. Singh's father, Mr. S.M. Singh, taught and was in charge of the school feeding scheme. Mr. S.M. Singh and my family were quite associated for a long span of well over 82 years. All my siblings, 8 in number, were pupils at the Amsterdam State Indian School. At that time, Mr. Buddhu was the cook, Mr. Panna was the caretaker, and Mr. Singh was, amongst other duties, responsible for the catering division. Believe me, ladies and gentlemen, these people never raised the voice in a hurry. But whenever they did raise their voice, there was complete silence. Even the caretaker had good command over the children. Some of the important things that I could remember about that excursion. The children of the Amsterdam State Indian School used to go out quite often on an excursion. Their favorite place of going on an excursion is the Amsterdam Beach. And I can remember very clearly, whenever we go to the beach, Mr. S.M. Singh will ensure that the children are well fed, well organized, well enjoyed themselves properly, and that they did everything best in their power to make them feel as comfortable as possible. At that time, I remember very clearly, Mr. Billy Jagat, one of the staff members, was a very good swimmer. Whenever he waded to the water, we will all panic because he was a good singer, a good swimmer, and we were afraid what might happen to him. He used to quite deep into the sea, and those memories linger in my mind even up till today. Another very important thing about Mr. Singh, in the early days, knew my father. My father used to work for the Verlum Steam Laundry as an ironer, he used to iron clothes. Now, later on, he operated from home. He had a small business to supplement his income. Now, we had duties to perform. My duty was to go around to the village, collect all the washing. Amongst many members, Mr. S.M. Singh was one of those members who supported my father. My mother would wash the clothes, my father would iron the clothes, and my duty is to deliver the clothes every morning before I go to school and collect the cash as well. This was a part of my routine. Little later, we also had a situation where Mr. Singh was very helpful to us. As you know, he was a social worker. He helped the community of Verulam in many respects. My father needed his assistance on many occasions, especially when he had to do writing of letters, go to the any information that he required that concerned him and which he was not able to handle. Mr. Singh, I have got documents where I can prove his signatures appeared on these documents that he submitted either to the lawyers or whatever it is. And I did mention this to Mr. J. Singh. This is what your father has done for my dad, and that was highly appreciated. Another very important thing is I knew his sister. Her name was Manormani, and she was a classmate of mine. She later got married, settled down in Australia. She was married to one of the Somas family. Right. Another very important information is that my mother used to make Indian confectionaries and sell at the school, near the school premises. Whenever it rains, Mr. Singh or the principal will call my mother and ask her to sell from the veranda of the school to avoid getting wet. Now, these are good qualities of a person that we don't forget in a hurry. Among the other staff was Mr. Ada Reddy, Mr. Ganesh Ramsamy, Yusuf Akbar, Mr. Arad Sham, Mr. Panjay Krishnan, and a few more. A lot of time was he spent, Mr. Singh was to spend a lot of time at his office near the child welfare office in Groom Street. He also spent a lot of his time at Mr. K.S. Patter's jewelry shop. Whenever my father wants to contact him, he'll go to the jewelry shop. You know that Mr. Singh is there after school hours. Another very important place that they always assemble is Mr. Y.S. Chinsami's office. At this office, quite a number of teachers after school hours will assemble to have friendly chats. Mr. J.S. Singh and I remember the Verlam Hindu United Forum. And there we used to have quite a lot of discussions, plans for the development of the lifestyle of the Indian community. Ladies and gentlemen, that was, in a nutshell, the history of Mr. Jay Singh and our association. Our next slide, please. 40 years later, Mr. Singh spent 40 years of his time in the field of education from 1952 to 1992. He was at Sastry College for his secondary education. He served as a locum at the Cottonlands Government-Aided Indian School in 1952, and thereafter he was sent to the Cesana School on the south coast, at least on the south coast, as a locum. He obtained his degrees from the University of Durban, Westville, which was purely Indians in that school. He also obtained his Bachelor of Arts, Bachelor of Education, and eventually, at the end of 1992, he retired at the Oakville Primary School, retired as a principal. Mr. Singh had a very humble beginning, but determined to complete his education and become a school teacher. As on achievement, he was proud. He began to inspire, or he was certainly an inspiration to many children and adults who want to progress in life. Next slide, please. 74 years as a community service. 1952, he was responsible for the formation of the Verlam Area Care Committee of the FOSA. In 1952, he also was the Blood Donors Association. He formed the Blood Donors. 1954, he was a member of the North Coast Schools Athletic Union. 1958, Verlam Health Clinic Board. And in 1956 to 1995, he was a member of the Verlam Ratepayers Association and other civic associations as well. It is worth mentioning that the Verlam ratepayers protested due to the disparity in the manner in which the rates and taxes were being assessed. For those of you who were fortunate enough to attend the conference at Umhlanga near Durban, you will remember Umhlanga, an affluent area which was predominantly habited by whites. This prestigious upper-class municipal area paid taxes less than the Indian township of Verulam, Tongat, and Phoenix, largely due to the efforts of Mr. Singh and the Verulam Ratepayers and Civic Association. An intervention by the Minister of Local Government led to a rebate of 35%. The protesters at the Verulam municipal grounds were very successful. There was a large gathering of protesters, and I too was one of them. The police tried to disband the protesters, and these protesters remained stubborn. We were transported to the Verulam police station in the police trucks to be charged. Large crowds had already assembled at the police station in solidarity with the protesters. From the police station, we were taken to the courthouse. There were quite a large number of people waiting for us at the courthouse. We were told to come the next day. When we went next day to the courthouse, we found that with the intervention of the local government minister, Mr. Peter Miller, they had already decided to give the ratepayers a 35% discount, a victory for the protesters. Next slide, please. I personally believe of all Mr. Singh's accomplishments in various capacities, one that is dearest to his heart is the erection of the monument in a site at the entrance of Verulam to commemorate the legends of the Indian indentured laborers. He was very passionate of the contributions made by the indentured laborers that changed the landscape of the Indian community in South Africa. The construction of the monument was completed by the builders Ashok Brothers. The community of Verulam and the surrounding areas were invited to the official opening of the monument on the 28th of March 2023. Meals and entertainment was provided at the Verulam Daycare Center. Verulam Daycare Center. And ladies and gentlemen, just to enlighten you a little more, there was a motorcade procession on that day, which was one of its kind in Verulam, the first, I think the largest that I had seen. What is important, ladies and gentlemen, is the message that he had left for us. We must emulate and reach out and be willing to assist the needy, feed the poor, the elderly, in whatever way we could help them. We must be humble and simple so that we can be approachable. The famous adage, service to mankind is service to God, should be practiced. The Vedic scripture tells us that the soul never dies. It is a continuous process of the cycle of birth and death, according to your karmic action. I hope the soul has identified itself with the divine power. In conclusion, the source of information was attained from the book entitled The Unsung Heroes, Volume 1, published in 2023, compiled by Fazua Peer, Dr. Kogilam Achari, Vishnu Naidu, and Laven Gopal. Thank you for your patient hearing. God bless.
Thank you so much, Uncle. I see that you made some amendments, and I really appreciate the fact that you introduced us to who he was while you all were young people, young children, all of the difficulties that you all would have encountered in making him who he was. Thank you very much for that. We're going to move on now to our second presentation, and this one is going to be delivered by none other than Dr. Betty Govindan on behalf of both the sister as well as the niece of Mr. Singh. So Manorma Devi is, she lives in Australia, and she prepared something which came to us a little bit after notice, but we do have that to share with you. Professor Mala Singh, however, is the eldest niece of Mr. Singh. She taught philosophy and political science at the former University of Durban, Westville in KZN, and worked at the Open University in the UK. Both of them prepared a presentation for us, which I would like to share with you all now, and Dr. Betty Govindan is going to deliver on your behalf, on their behalf, sorry.
Thank you. Thank you, Shalima, and greetings to everybody. I read this, the first tribute on behalf of Manorma Somers. On my dear brother Jai Singh Bhai, My humble greetings to everyone from me and my family in Australia. I am Manorma Somers, Nee Singh, and I'm the youngest of the three sisters of the late Jai Singh Suraj Bali Singh. He was born on 15th September 1930 at 2 Island Street, Verulam. It was the humble home of our parents, Suraj Bali and Diyali Singh. Our home was saturated with spirituality, love, and benevolence. The birth of the next generation, Jai Singh, was a joyful occasion. We siblings, Tara Devi, Jai Singh, Champa Devi, Ajit Kumar, and I grew up in this household that taught us to take a very compassionate approach to life and always consider the needs of others through the example of our grandmother and our parents. I remember packing hampers to give to the needy during the Diwali festival. Unfortunately, our younger brother Ajit Kumar passed away at a very early age. Our brother Jai Singh and we too walked to Shloti school at times without warm clothing or shoes because our parents could not afford to purchase these items. Nevertheless, education of the younger generation was paramount to our parents, and we were fortunate to be enrolled at a school. After his primary education, Bai, we always called him Bai out of respect, went to Sastry College in Durban. Our uncle assisted him in buying uniforms and textbooks. He matriculated at the end of 1949 and then pursued locum teaching jobs to earn an income so that he did not have to depend on our dad to pay for his further studies. He was forever grateful that his education that far was paid for by our father, whose income not only supported all of us, but also our grandmother and a few of the children of our aunt who had passed away. He taught at Sazela Primary School, and because there was no accommodation for teachers there, he stayed in the workers' barracks and shared all their facilities. That was his humble nature, and he treated everyone with equal respect. After a few years, he returned to Verulam and taught at the local schools. He obtained his teacher's senior certificate degree on his return to Verulam. Now he was on a higher salary and commenced studies towards obtaining a teacher's diploma, a BA degree, and a Bachelor of Education degree. He studied part-time to obtain his degrees in education. Bai married Satya Sri Devi Maharaj on the 23rd of November 1956 at the Bharat Hall in Durban. It was a grand occasion, and we lovingly welcomed our dear sister-in-law to our home. Subsequently, they had three sons, Naresh Kumar, Bimal, and Eugen. The years rolled on, the children pursued their studies, and then the grandchildren, Ishkar, Shravan, Tasrith, Sitara, and Akira, brought much joy to the Jai Singh and Savitri Singh household. We three sisters enjoyed our visits to our brother's home. There was always loving chatter, mostly about our life at 2 Island Street, our grandmother and our parents. Much water has flowed under the bridge. The years have rolled on and circumstances have changed. My visitations may have been less frequent due to distance, but the memories of the love and cohesiveness that existed amongst all of us, even in our advancing years, will remain cemented. Rest in peace, dear Bai. Jai Shri Ram.
Thank you for that one, Auntie.
For our overseas visitors, if you just look at the map from Durban towards the north coast along the Indian Ocean, you will see the place names that are mentioned in the tributes. I share now the family tribute from Professor Mala Singh, the eldest niece of Mr. J.S. Singh. Mala is a respected academic and intellectual in South Africa and is also known internationally, and has worked in philosophy and higher education transformation. I share now Mala Singh's tribute. Mr. Singh, an icon of indenture and ancestry research, and a well-loved and respected community leader in Verulam, KwaZulu-Natal, South Africa, passed away on the 22nd of August, 2025, a few weeks short of his 95th birthday. Despite his passing, his larger-than-life personality and his immeasurable social and intellectual contributions will ensure his continuing influence on our family and in the many organizations where he was involved and remained active to the end of his life. Mr. Singh was an always cheerful and friendly person with a warm smile, a twinkle in his eye, and an interesting story to tell. This is what made some people refer to him affectionately as Verulam's Aja. He loved visitors and family celebrations. For the Singh family, he was the beloved dad of 3 sons, Naresh, Bimal, and Eugene, the much-loved brother of 3 sisters, Tara, Champa, and Manorma, the proud grandfather of 5 grandchildren, and the affectionate uncle of many nieces and nephews. Born into a poor home in Verulam, he endured a tough journey to acquire an education and teaching qualifications, eventually retiring as a school principal. His post-retirement life was a busy 30-year period of remarkable achievements and influence in civic, philanthropic, and religious organizations, and in indenture and ancestry-related research and organization building. His religious faith, like that of his father, was given expression more in good deeds and contributions to the societal good than through prayer and ritual alone. His passion to unearth and document new aspects of indenture and legacy remained undimmed till the end. He had all the traits of a historian and archivist, despite having no formal training in these fields. Professor Singh points to the continuous presence of the Singh family in Verulam for more than 100 years. The involvement of different generations of the Singh family in the civic, philanthropic, educational, cultural, and religious life of Verulam. The ingrained family values of civic-mindedness and societal concern, and the proud legacy that inspires new generations in the family. And I may add, to the wider extended family to which we all belong. She concludes, "We have lost the beloved elder of our family whose values of warmth, care, and generosity we treasured. We are comforted by the reputation that he leaves behind of providing inspirational leadership in the many community organizations and pioneering indenture and ancestry research, especially in Verulam, a beacon and role model for future generations." And I should just like to add, Shalima, on a personal note, that I was first invited to a conference that was held at Sastry College by the Verulam Indenture Foundation. This was in 2018 to do a presentation. And I was invited by Mr. Anand Jairaj, whom you met. And it has been my absolute privilege to become part of this wonderful family and to get to know Mr. Singh personally, for which I am so grateful. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Auntie Betty. It was quite a pleasure to know both him and you, and I wish we had more time. Unfortunately, or fortunately, he has moved on.
Yes.
And we are here to continue the work that he's done. Thank you.
Thank you.
So we've been hearing so many wonderful things about him. And we had the good fortune of meeting with him on the first day that we landed in South Africa, in Durban, actually, thanks to Kogi and Nash. So we took the opportunity at that point in time to record our conversation with him. And this may have been his very last interview. It was not intended to be a formal interview, but we do want to share this recording with you. So Navin, can we have that, please? Navin?
Navin? Is Navin there or you got bumped out? Oh,
I'm seeing him here, but it would have been interesting to have it up now. Anyways, what we can do is probably move on. Naren, are you ready? Just wave to me, please. I need you to unmute your mic. Yeah?
Navin?
Didn't?
Naren, let's just talk a
I-
second because we need to
Okay.
confirm what's happening with Navin.
My prem namaste to all of you out there, the users as well. A tribute to Mr. Jay Singh.
Okay, Naren?
Yes.
Naren, just hold 1 second, please.
Okay.
Shakir, do you have Naren's PowerPoint? Yeah? We'll bring our conversation with Mr. Singh after. Let's just bring that up. Naren, give me 1 second. Let me just tell everyone why you are speaking.
Okay.
Naren Rajbansi was considered by the late Mr. Singh to be his non-biological son. Naren is a retired acting deputy principal and currently serves as the assistant treasurer of the 1860 Indentured Laborers Foundation. Naren, I hope you're going to share a little bit about why Mr. Singh always had a twinkle in his eye and whether you were the beneficiary of some of those twinkles from time to time.
Can I start?
Yeah, go ahead.
Is this
My
it?
prem namaste to all of you out there and the viewers and presenters as well. In the Mahabharata, it says, all ripe fruit must drop down from the tree. Even so, a man has to wait the inevitable hour of death. There is not one who can live as he intends to. So what power then has he over death of those for which he grieves? This extract comes from from the Mahabharata. My association with Mr. Singh spans back to 1988, some 37 years ago. We had just relocated from Chatsworth, south of Durban, to the North Coast in Verulam in 1985, where I am currently residing. Next slide.
Sorry. This one?
Slide number 2.
This. Okay.
My daughter Shesta, at the time of 3 years old. Both my wife and I, Savitri, and I were educators and needed someone to take care of our kid. And we came to know about Mrs. Savitri Singh having a little creche and nursery for little children at her home. We paid a visit to Mrs. Savitri Singh and found the environment was excellent. Hence, we enrolled our daughter immediately at her creche. And we found a motherly personality in her, and that gave us even more courage to leave our children at her care. The late Mr. Singh then introduced us to Jyoti Satsang at the Sri Gopala temple in Verulam, and where we became members of this organization. And incidentally, this organization was founded by the late Mr. and Mrs. Singh. Hence, our journey with the Singh family commenced at this point. Next slide. Next slide, please. I've known Mr. Singh to be an astute and dedicated stalwart who gradually drew me into the Intention Labels Foundation, Verulam, as a member and then to assist as the treasurer, a position I still hold. I found him to be very soft-spoken, very diplomatic in addressing very serious issues, principled in his character, very knowledgeable, and presenting novel programs, always amenable to suggestion and caring and sharing, a person with a very great vision whom I adore. I found Mr. Singh to be not just a member of the organization, but to me, a dad who kept on guiding me along the way, every step of the way, in fact. Can you go to slide 5? In 2020, the late Mr. Singh asked me to do a compilation or a composition of all the past magazines, to edit them and to collate it into one book. This was the second leg of my journey with him on this new venture, and asking me to be the editor of the book called The Legend of Human Cargo. He had also drawn Dr. Kogi Archery Pratap as the research officer at that point in time. So Dr. Kogi, myself, and Mr. Singh sat for many days and going through the brochures, magazines, sifting out all relevant information together with new information and encapsulating it into one book. And Mr. Singh suggested that the title of the book be The Legend of Human Cargo. He chose this name for a simple reason. The indentured laborers arrived on the shores of Port Natal on 16th of September 1860. They could not disembark the ship, as there was no one to receive them. Our forebears spent another night in the ship. The administrator rode on horseback from Pietermaritzburg and reached the port on Natal on the 17th of September 1860, the actual day that our forebears had stepped on South African soil. He then ordered the human cargo to be offloaded and kept in the dockyard. Now, this statement is very derogatory, demeaning, condescending, humiliating in nature, because referring to human beings as a cargo and to load them in the dockyard, which is a yard where the shortage takes place. Hence, the name, The Legend of Human Cargo, was very apt for this book. Next slide. In 2022, Professor Shanta Bhargavan Singh decided to do a book on the Indians in South Africa, a perspectives from 1860 to the 21st century. And Mr. Singh had asked me once again to compile the history of the Indentured Laborers Foundation. With the assistance of Mr. Roy Ragbir, the secretary who has all the records available at his disposal, helped me compile this history. And this was admitted into the book of the perspectives from the 1860 to the 21st century. Next slide, please. It was nearing September 2023, and the unveiling of our monument in Verulam was set for the third week of the month. I suggested that at a meeting that we do a motor vehicle cavalcade, the float procession, 2 weeks before the unveiling of ceremony, and this would create an awareness program in the community. I was then asked to organize this. Because I mentioned it, I had to do the task. And this float procession was very successful indeed, as Mr. Boy Firmal had mentioned. It covered at least 11 suburbs of Verulam a distance of 22 kilometers which took us 1 hour, 20 minutes to do. And our late dad requested that this should be repeated in our town at the second time. The next slide, please. For this procession to take place, a much detailed paper trail had to be done. We had to get to motor vehicles, cavalcade, float procession. All the necessary preparations were done. Paper trail for permission for the use of the road, public liability, motor vehicles and trucks, route maps, Metro Police, South African Police Services, security company, and all stakeholders was involved. And if you look at the slide that had been presented to you, the first slide shows that the one with the turban on in the middle is myself, and I was given the honor and opportunity to cut the ribbon to start the float procession. And the second picture shows my leading the float as I knew the road well, as I had designed that route, and I knew the place very well thereafter. And then you'll find other pictures there of the float procession. There's a sugarcane bucky there, and a truck with a lot of people seated at the back. And the other picture will show you the trail that the procession took. It was very long. I think it's between almost a kilometer long. And it was one of its kind in Verulam. Next slide, please.
Are you seeing?
Yes.
Okay.
Mr. Singh emailed the document via Nash to me, and the instruction was to please complete the document and send it back to him. Incidentally, he had nominated me for the Unsung Heroes Award. I received this award on 13th of July, 2025, before an audience of 600 guests. It was the biggest event of my life among so many people. And if this was not enough for the late Mr. J. Singh, he called up a meeting with the Indentured Laborers Foundation, indicating that we are going to take out photographs as well. And he asked me to bring along my awards that I received. The next slide, please. And this is what he prepared. He wanted to show the committee. This was outside the room under a tree. And Dr. Kogi, Archdeacon Pratap, presenting me once again with the tokens that I received during this award ceremony. Next slide, please. This is the mission accomplished. This was the last mission that he placed before me. We met in January this year, or was it February, where he reminded us that Verulam was 175 years old, and that we should have a commemoration of this town in Verulam this year. We said the wheels turning, and we set up a group, an ad hoc committee to take this forward. Unfortunately, there were much uproar from the community that everybody were not included. So we put a hold on that, and we invited all members of the community from different sectors of the community as well to meet at the hospice center in Verulam and to take this forward. They wanted inclusivity of all that lived in Verulam. 2 subsequent meetings were held, and at the second meeting, unfortunately, Mr. J. Singh fell ill and was not able to make it to this meeting. Then he called me and asked me to chair that meeting for him. And eventually I was made the chairperson of that meeting and left me standing alone one more time. And I currently feel his absence in this. So I have a great task ahead of me in taking and fulfilling this wish of his for the 175th commemoration. The next slide, please. At our last meeting, I then planned and set up a meeting with 2 weeks ago, and due to time constraints, it was decided to have this commemoration in 2 sessions. One a long term and the other, sorry, one is short term and the other long term. The short term one will be a motor vehicle cavalcade float procession. And the same will apply with what we had done last year. We have did all the paperwork for that. It's all ready for dispatching to the respective associations and bodies for the approval. And the long-term one will be a gala dinner inviting all members of the community, more so the business people, because we need the money to run this program. And one other thing he wanted was to do a manual or a brochure about the history of Verulam since the inception 150 years ago to date. And this is where we are at this point in time. Next slide, please. And as I was lying in bed a few days ago, I began to think of why Mr. Singh had asked me to do all these things. And I just began to write this little poem. May not be the best I could do, could have done better. Just as I opened the window and looked through the balcony, it was spring. I could see the beautiful, lush green valley below, only to envisage the height that I've unconsciously climbed. I asked myself, how did this happen? And then it all came back to me. Was all this part of his silent plan? Mentoring and grooming me in his own precocious way? Eventually, he lost his zest to survive and faded away from the dawn to dusk. The guidance, direction, advice, placing me in trying and intensive situations, and an aim accomplished. Go well, dear soul, until we meet again. I would like to just play this one song and take a listen to it. दुनिया से जाने जाने के दुनिया से जाने
That was beautiful, Naran.
Thank you. So that song was dedicated to the late Mr. J.S. Singh. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Ladies and gentlemen, let's hear from Mr. Singh himself. Navin, can we have that recording, please?
Sure.
Very cruelly against anybody who was not white. The crimes that they committed, horrible. But there came a time they could not continue with this white rule. And so finally they had to concede that this country belongs to everybody. And at that time, having served 27 years in prison, one of the fighters of freedom of this country was Dr. Nelson Mandela. This country owes it to him that when the black man came into power, he did not allow that we must now take revenge, and what the white men did to us, we are going to do to them, right? It is through him that this is a peaceful country. At the moment in this country here, there is no party that has an absolute majority to rule the country. So what they have got, a number of parties who have all got together, and they call that the government of national unity, GNU. And our people from the laborer today is also in parliament. Ministers of government, right from the indentured laborer to where they are today. That is the position of the Indian in this country, right? Laborer to lawmaker.
There's one more point, but Dad was talking about the cruelty under British rule. Natal was a province of a colony of British. Around 1901 or so, it is recorded that the highest rate of suicide in the entire world was here. The Indian indentured laborer, because of the harsh treatment, whipping, beating, and
During indentureship.
during indentureship by the British, that so many people took their lives. And Dad's grandpa was a horseman. Ever so often they'll come and knock.
He is from India. Go to Saturday College today and see if you see one drop of water anywhere.
Where is that college?
The engineers from
We are going to
India.
pass that area on
Yeah.
the 9th of August.
Yeah.
Right? The tour the 9th of
They
August.
drained the water.
9th
They
of
drained
August,
the
we
water.
went past Sastry College,
Yeah.
Warwick Avenue, Squatters Market, on our way to the 1860 Indentured Labourers, 1860 Heritage Centre.
The
Oh.
Indian engineers, Dad, tell them about the Indian engineers, how they drained the water.
No, that's what I said. Sastry brought engineers from India.
They drained
Right.
the water
And-
took it to the sea.
If you go to Sastry College now, today, right,
Dry.
you find that there is not one drop of water anywhere, right? And you see, the city council was only too happy to get rid of that land, okay? But didn't realize what the Indian engineers could do. And up till today, Baji, there is not one drop of water showing anywhere. And that is the first high school for boys in South Africa.
It's
India.
now
That's
co-ed,
where-
but it's not co-ed.
That's where Dad did his year 12, matric, before qualifying as a
So that
teacher.
would have been in 1948 or so, eh?
Yes.
1948.
That's it.
Yeah.
48. 1948.
Area within the 20-mile radius of where we are sitting now, there is a school built by our people, starting from the indentured laborer and then his descendants. And that is why today the Indian community is perhaps the most literate group in South Africa, because we did not wait for anyone to provide you education. They built their own schools. You see, many of these schools are still in existence. So we built our own schools. We built our own religious institutions. This town is self-sufficing.
In the 1940s, 30s and 40s, there was this great white lady,
Yeah.
Mabel Palmer. She used to fight with the white government. We must teach the Indians. We must teach the Indians. She started private lessons. There was a white university. She started to teach the Indian teachers all the university courses. So Grandpa went along. He passed English, history, mercantile law, and Roman law. Another 6 years got his BA. But then he got promoted as a principal and went to live far away. And he said, well, he reached his highest notch. This lady was a bit of a maverick, Mabel Palmer. That is why she is revered today. Because she took on the white establishment and said, we'll ban you, we'll put you in jail. You can do that. She created these classes for the Indian students. Derek, tell them about Sastry College.
So Mabel, was she a missionary, a
No, she
religious,
was a
ordinary?
Academic.
Academic.
Tell them about Sastry's college.
Sastry, Srinivasa Sastry, was here in South Africa as the representative of India. He was so learned, his English was so good that when he met the white officials there, they said, let's finish this meeting as quickly as possible because this man is speaking better English than us. Right. And then he agitated for a secondary school for Indian, right? And what they
Yeah.
came back from India, where they had there used to be this pastor that used to teach whoever, whether it's religion, whether it's school kind of material or whatever and so on. So the first teacher was probably one of those who could communicate to children 1 + 1 is 2, A, B, C, D, kind of thing and so on a very informal basis, maybe under a tree somewhere or in some kind of hut or whatever. So it is a case of that. But the formal instruction came later when people like my grandfather actually went to a building called his classroom, started teaching on there and writing on the wall, writing on the blackboard, and so on. That came out later. But the first teacher, we will not know.
But how it all started, when our people came here,
Now this is the old calendar. Old calendar.
the first thing they established was a place to pray. And they created a temple, a small shrine, and then it grew. And the second thing they did was build temple school. So they started to teach in those schools. And I went to 4 schools, 12 years. 11 years was spent at a state-aided Indian school, like the one Talwan Singh built. The community built the schools, and they paid the teachers and all that. And then the Indians got together and campaigned for the white government to pay the teachers, to buy the books and take. Oh, they just didn't want to. But these community schools, temple school and madrasa school, they started to produce teachers, doctors, lawyers who went to Ireland or went to Scotland and qualified. And then somewhere, I think in the 50s, then the white government said, all right, we'll pay the teachers, we'll pay for the textbooks, we'll pay for the school. That's why they call, I went to Vedlam Indian state-aided, Vedlam High state-aided Indian school. The community built it. Now when Dad was 20 years old, 19 years old, he was in Forza, but he was also in the Vedlam Youth Club. And they were building Vedlam High School, and they collected 40.
And listen to what I teach the girls. And that is Suraj education. We ended up as a principal.
Your father, that's your father.
Suraj yeah. I, son, ended as principal. Nash, my son, ended as a principal. 3 generations of school principals, starting with a man who had no education. But the reason why he got a position as a teacher, while he was sitting and listening to what Mrs. Joshua was teaching them, he learned English. So he could speak English. And that is how he got a job as a teacher.
Who is this? His father?
My great-grandparents, they came from India.
He's Mr. Singh's grandfather.
Yes, Haji and Raja.
Dr. J, you all are going to be at the Sri Gopalal temple during Gita week on the 12th of August, all right? Would you like to give, you see, we have a service every day during Gita week. Would you like to give a talk on the Gita while we are there?
On the Gita, I am not too knowledgeable.
That is how Vedlam was established, right? And and they came mainly from England, but also from Holland. Okay.
1652.
There's something I want to show you here.
They were the first whites from Holland.
This photograph here is a photograph of the temple. Now, Dr. G.
Yeah.
This temple here, the bottom one. Yeah, the whole thing, okay? Okay. Now, this temple is built on land donated by an indentured laborer after he was freed.
And what's his
He
name?
became very wealthy.
What's his name?
Talwan Singh.
Talwan
Singh. He became very rich. He bought his former employer's business in the main street. He bought the house in which he lived. He bought a lot of other land and
Cows.
and
But how did he become so rich?
you see, quite a lot of our people became very rich here, very rich. Okay, after indenture, by working hard. All right. Now this man donated 7.5 acres of land to the temple committee to build a temple. Right. And what is important about this temple is it's called Sri Gopala Temple. It was officially opened by Mahatma Gandhi in 1913. And when you are at the temple one of the days, you can
On the 12th.
go to the front and take some pictures
On the
there.
12th, we
The
get
president of the
See?
temple is 94
Yeah,
years old.
yeah,
That's him
yeah.
right there.
Now, why I'm showing you this picture here is my grandfather is here, number 2.
What's his name?
Mahesh Singh. Mahesh Singh. He's in this photograph. My granny was also a member of the committee, but she's not in the photograph. Why? Because she was a lady.
All the sacrifices that we made, so that's what we did.
There
And
was-
it's finished late at night, say 5 o'clock or 6 o'clock, and then to travel back from UDW to home was not easy because
So-
we didn't have cars.
So is it that they schedule the exams with no breaks in between, merely to force you to fail?
Because
Yes.
because see, when we were boycotting, because we used to boycott, and then not go for lectures and things like that, then the university used to be closed. And then so when we went back now to make up the
They'll
time,
punish you.
this is the what
Now,
we
at
had
that
to put
stage,
up
there was apartheid rule, whites only voted. So we protested. Now, I was on the Student Representative Council at the Indians only university. Indians, coloreds in that day, whites at that university, blacks in this university. So we protested against that. And I was a member of a Zambian student organization, Mandela's team. So if you stand up and say, Viva Mandela, they'll come, they'll arrest you, they'll put me in jail. I know what it is to be inside the back of the van at least 5 times. I know what prison life is. So when we sat there, we felt like Mandela. He's 27 years on Robben Island protesting against white rule. And eventually, Mandela got released and became our president. And I got to tell the story.
So who arrested you? Police or soldiers?
the security branches.
I've been arrested by the Verlin police, the local police, the university police, the riot police, the security police.
But they were mainly blacks or white?
Whites, intelligence police, the army, all vicious fellows. They beat you up, they kill people, they torture you. If there's a demonstration, they'll shoot with rubber bullets, tear gas, batons, dogs. And my job was to stand in the front with a loud hailer, wishing them all the best.
You know,
And they just
So these whites, they came here. They were immigrants. That's
They
all.
came
Yes,
in
yes.
1820.
Holland.
oh,
Ah,
And there was white rule in this country.
All
Netherlands then.
There you protest. Nelson Mandela. They put him in jail for 27 years.
yeah, you see,
So the first
many,
round of Indians came in 1652. That was Jan van Riebeeck,
many
1652.
whites, many whites came from England here
Yeah.
because
1820.
there was a potatoes days was a member of the Natal Indian Congress
Formed by Gandhi.
doing community work. He was a school teacher. One day he received a letter from the Department of Education. We give you 7 days to resign as a member of
Secretary.
the Natal Indian Congress.
Secretary of the Verlin branch.
We give you 7 days to resign as the secretary of the Natal Indian Congress in Vellum, or your services will be terminated. What does the poor man do? And he used to do, he was actually, what he was doing was not politics. What he was doing was welfare of people, getting people registered, right, birth, dates, and so on. You see, he was doing that kind of a work. And that is how our family was able to, get particulars of our family history, by working for others. He picked up our history also, you see.
But no, just to add, we did have resistance. Gandhiji started it. When I started Varsity in 1983, I joined the Natal Indian Congress. We protested. I got arrested 5 times. I once spent 2 months in solitary confinement
wow.
in prison. So there is a history of resistance.
Yeah.
And what were you protesting for?
Anti-apartheid. The apartheid government.
When was that?
In the 80s.
The 80s. So
What
just to add, so Bima was in 1983. I went in 1984.
You went solitary confinement?
No,
Varsity.
I attended university, and when we were at, it was known as UDW, the University of Durban Westwell. So the students protested,
Yes.
and what the varsity did is they had those Caspers.
Yes.
Remember those big Caspers?
I've had a ride in that.
You've had
They
a-
are these big,
So,
ugly trucks which
big
they take you
Caspers
away in a
with
protest.
like with guns, like that's what it looked like, the army Caspers.
Yeah.
And that was like to threaten us, and then we used to use those bullets, those
Rubber bullets.
right?
Rubber
Rubber
bullets.
bullets,
Bacon
tear
shells.
gas, and we were students. We used to run. So
Yeah.
for the 4 years.
Hey, if you're not here, then the British are not here. That was the resentment. If the British had no workforce, then the British would be gone.
Ah,
So that
that's an
was
excellent point.
A resentment.
Yes.
And then Gandhiji comes here.
Yeah.
And people have forgotten. He lived here for 20 years.
Yeah.
20 years, taking up the plight of the Indian ship workers. And
Yes.
he took them on. Oh! Well, next time we record what Gandhiji did here. 20 years he lived here. Most people forgot that.
So, Mr. Singh, I just want your opinion. Do you think we have been accused of being very passive? And when I say we, I mean Indians in the Indian diaspora. And this accusation has actually come from an Indian ambassador. He thinks we are too passive.
Quiet. We
are
don't
too
fight
quiet.
back.
We do not fight
don't
back.
protest.
We don't protest. We don't resent. We just continue to keep our noses to the table and we continue to work. What is your opinion?
Yeah. Sometimes we are perceived as boneless. Right?
Spineless.
We cannot stand up to fight.
Yeah.
Right? We don't fight for our rights.
Yeah.
Okay? We are looked as very passive community. And what might be the perception is that rather than confrontation and get hurt, I'd rather be silent and
Live to see another day.
suffer in silence.
Suffer, but we live to see another
Yeah,
day.
and this is what I found in my readings now, in the Caribbean and here also, thousands of miles away, you see. And the other thing might be, well, let us look at it this way, that, the Indian mind is so positive. Why must I take revenge against somebody who has hurt me? Right? No revenge. Okay? That is why in all the racial tensions we've had in the Caribbean and here, there was no retaliation from the Indians, right, against those who had perpetuated crime against them. You see? Yeah.
The indented immigrants, because they saw them as scab labor. What was the attitude here,
You
even
see,
to the indigenous?
When the indentured laborer came here, the indigenous population was not very strong. They were sparsely populated here, there, everywhere. And then there was, on both sides, some kind of like a curiosity, right? To see now people like me, they are here. And those people, they said, who are these people now? I've never seen them before, you see? But I won't say that there was no racial tension right from the beginning, but later on it did grow. There was racial tension because then some of them felt that these new people who are here are taking away the work of our people in this country. But I'm going to mention this also, that both in the Caribbean and here in Natal, there were racial conflicts, both, right? And but what was very significant, both in the Caribbean and here, the Indian did not say, I want to take revenge against these people who have massacred our people. They didn't do that in both countries. There are some stories here about how Indians were massacred in the Caribbean, but they didn't say we want to take revenge against the people. So it would seem there's something inherent in the Indian that he doesn't seek revenge, which shows now people living thousands of miles away and yet thinking alike, no revenge. Yeah. Yeah.
So I think many of you all were as fascinated with that conversation as we were when we heard him. And it was such a pleasure having that conversation with him and sharing it with you all. I wish we had many, many more hours to just sit and chat. And you all can see it was just a very casual conversation, but certainly the details were not as casual. To share a little bit more about Mr. Singh's life, I want to bring Dr. Kogi Archery. She was inspired by the vision of Mr. Singh. She grew to become a research associate at the University of South Africa and the series editor of Tell Your Mother's Story, a publication of the Oral History Association. There's a lot more we could say about her, but I'll let Kogi chat with you. Kogi?
Hey, good evening, everybody. I have prepared some slides, but a lot of this information has already been spoken about by some of the previous speakers. So we will let the slides go through, and then those points that have not been mentioned before, I'll then talk to those points. And hence my presentation might be shorter, but it then allows for further question and answers and discussions. So I entitled my presentation, no, you have to go back to the previous, I'll tell you when to move, yes. I've entitled my presentation, The Song Has Ended, but the Melody Lings On. And since he's passing on the 22nd of August, every day I think about Mr. Singh in a different context and in a different frame of mind and in a different way, and about things that we had said and shared and things that we were still going to do. And since he's passing, I have been occupying myself with different activities. I just found it very difficult to come straight back home because even though I live in a different home, about 20 k's from where he lives, but I still feel his presence, as though he's even here in my own home. As an example, on Sunday, the 24th of August, the KwaZulu-Natal Blind and Deaf Society hosted an event entitled I Can Walk, with the I spelled EYE, because that is an organization that takes care of the blind, the deaf, and the deaf-blind. And the reason I mention this is because Mr. Singh was instrumental in the Natal Blind and Deaf Society Verulam Regional Committee in 1972. So, him and Mrs. Singh, and she was actually the first vice president of the Verulam branch of the KwaZulu-Natal Blind and Deaf Society. So they were even instrumental in that NGO, which took care of the mental and the health needs of those who were disadvantaged in our community. So the one thing that I did upon his passing was attend this event, and there I met many people who knew of Mr. Singh. And it was even at that occasion that I met Mr. Bobby Perumal, because he was also a part of the Blind and Deaf Society. And even Vita Sukaran, is one of our LOC members, and she is the chairperson and the president of the KwaZulu-Natal Blind and Deaf Society. All of them showering so much support, love, and outpouring of this love towards the sadness of Mr. Singh's passing, even though he was 94 years old and 3 weeks short of his 95th birthday. So the melody does linger on. Next slide, please. And I say that those we love and lose are always connected by heartstrings into infinity. And for me, this is captured in the researching and writing up of indentured history articles that I have composed with Mr. Singh. As Shalima has mentioned, I'm a research associate at the University of South Africa. So what this basically means is that whatever research I do has to be accredited, and it eventually goes into academic journals. And I'm then on the payroll for UNISA, and this is how I continue the work that I do. So in my research in indentureship, Mr. Singh has been a source, an organic intellectual, somebody who shared personal memories and reflective memories and personal testimonies of what happened from the 1940s, the 1950s, and the 1960s. The one example that I can share is that he told me that his father, who was 8 years old at the time of the passing of his father, so Suraj Bali was 8 years old at the passing of his father, and his mother and his parents had land, but there was some paperwork that needed to be signed. And at that time, children of 11 years old could sign, because they could write. And he said to me, so his father had to step in as a young child and sign documents for his paternal grandmother. And this is now documented that this is what young Indian children were exposed to and what they could do. So you could, there was just no holding back the descendants of Indian indentured laborers. Coming back to the notes on this slide, right? So, as mentioned, I am the series editor of this project entitled Tell Your Mother's Story. So, the Oral History Association of South Africa is an agent of the Department of Sport, Arts and Culture. And I am an executive member and a part of the editorial team of OHASA. So, when I dreamt up this project, Tell Your Mother's Story, it was a way to capture voices, either women's voices or stories about women, uh, the struggles, the challenges, the sacrifices that women in our country across the races, not just Indian women, but across the races. Because remember, we are only 30 years in a democracy. And still being a young democracy, our history has to be rewritten. And one of the ways in which we can rewrite this history is to actually conduct oral history interviews. So in 2014, I mentioned this to Mr. Singh, and he said, well, good. I can interview him, and he will write up the story of his paternal grandmother. And that is a picture, Shalima, that you showed earlier on. You were holding it during that interview. So I have written many articles about what Mrs. Singh has done in this country, because we must remember she was widowed when her eldest son was 8 years old. And she had a choice whether to go back to India or to remain in this country. And according to Mr. Singh, his grandmother decided to remain in this country with two small children under the age of 8. And she then took care of them. She worked, she ran the market garden at home, and she was also involved with selling the milk to the Verulam jail, which, she was entrepreneurial despite being an indentured laborer who came to this country. Once she became, her indentureship was over, she decided not to go back to India, and she made it work. And she was on her own because there are no records of any siblings. There's no records of her parents. She came here as a 23-year-old, and that was in 1895. That was in 1895. And then she married in 1900, right? And then they had their first son. And in 1908, her husband passed on, and she never remarried. She brought up these children, right? And so we have that story. We have her story, which was first documented in volume 1 of Tell Your Mother's Story. Now, in order to understand Mr. Singh, we can also look to his father, Mr. S.M. Singh. And, Mr. Y.S. Chinsami quoted in the Daily News stated, Mr. S.M. Singh is a legend in our town. So, coming out of this, his father being a legend, we can fully understand the greatness of Mr. Singh himself, right? Learning so much from his father. And, Mr. Singh Sr. believed in the dictum, serve till you drop. And as we know, Mr. Singh and our Mr. J. Singh at 94 was still serving. He was a sitting president of the 1860 Indentured Laborers Foundation, still speaking at an audience, right? Until the time of his passing. So he literally served until he dropped. And even so, if I can share, I visited him when he was in hospital the few days before his passing. And I had about 15 minutes alone time with him. And that is, like I mentioned to you, Shalima, that is when I shared the press release. And I read the entire thing to him. I read the entire letter to him. And in his bed, hospital bed, he listened to me. And I can only imagine the thoughts that would have been going through his mind, because by that time it had now come to the end of visiting hours. And but he took in what I said. He took in what I said, that there's now this university that is going to be offering this course of study, and there's going to be degrees and masters and PhDs. So I think he knew, and he left being fully informed that the work that he had started many decades ago, obviously in a different world, in a different space, in a different time, but his thoughts. And, Shalima, when we were doing the program for the first day, I think you remember me saying what the title of his paper would be. It's because I put it together, and from listening to what was taking place on our Zoom programs and what was the thoughts that Mr. Singh had. And that is how we worked out what he should speak on at the first day, the opening of the conference. So I want to go further on with this slide. So on the occasion of his 94th birthday, which was held at the 1860 Heritage Center, and this is thanks to Mr. Selvan Naidu, one of the directors of the 1860 Heritage Center, that we were able to have a joint event on the 15th of September, 2024. It was the launch of my book entitled Reflective Memories. And for this book, I interviewed eight trailblazers born between 1924 and 1944. And this probably has been the most rewarding work that I have done, sitting with these eight people, interviewing them, and then writing up their stories, and all going back to indentured history, to their grandparents or their parents. And Mr. Singh was chapter 2 in that book, because Mr. Miraj was born in 1925, and I captured his story. And also we've already lost now Mr. Rajbali Lachman, who's in this book. And today on our program, we had the baby of that book, Dr. Betty Govenden, at 81, trailblazer number 8 in that book. So on the 15th of September, 2024, Mr. Singh made a call, and we discussed it. Him and I discussed it beforehand. And therefore, some of us might remember it when he said he had a birthday wish. And his birthday wish was that we now have this committee in place to start the work for 2025, right? So he made an appeal, and he invited members of the public to join an ad hoc committee, which then became the local organizing committee for the 165th anniversary event. And members of the local organizing committee, some of them, I haven't seen all their names, but they are on this program. Our deputy chair is, and the committee is still in place. We haven't had any discussions, but our deputy chairperson for that committee is Mr. Nash Singh. Our treasurer is Advocate Lavan Gopal. Our secretary is Ms. Hazel Lachman. Our Deputy Secretary and Conference Convener was Professor Kiveshni Naidu. Our Logistics Officer was Mrs. Vita Sukaran, who joined me in a meeting with Mr. Singh at his house in March this year when we started our fundraising projects. Mr. Danny Govender, also in charge of events. And then we had Mr. Singh himself was the head of the advisory committee for the LOC, which basically meant that if I needed any advice, I would go to Mr. Singh, right? Even though he was the president of the 1816 Vedlam, but he was also the head of the advisory committee for the LOC. And he guided me in terms of the Hindu faith, the Hindu religion, the Hindu aspects that we needed to ensure, whether it was Tamil, Telugu, Gujarati. Mr. Singh was Hindi, Mr. Singh was there. And then we had Ms. Fozia up here, who assisted me with the aspects relating to Islam and the Muslim community. And I had Dr. Betty Govenden, who ensured that the Christian or Christianity was covered. And our last person was the youngster who assisted with IT, and that is my son Keshvir Pratap. So we were the 11 persons who made up the LOC. And most of them came out of this meeting on the 15th of September. And of course, we have the 1860 Indentured Laborers Foundation, and there are about 15 of our members as well. So, Mr. Singh, his final 1860 message was as a presidential address on the 3rd of August 2025 at the opening of the International Indian Indentured History Conference, which was held in August. And some of us might want to know, why did we have it in August? Because we all know that the Truro arrived here on the 16th of November, and our people, the laborers, the Germitias, were only allowed to disembark on the 17th because there was nobody to receive them here on the 16th. So why did we have it earlier? And there were many logistics that we had to take into place, and I had to discuss it with Mr. Singh before he agreed that we could have it. And one of it is that many of the countries in the Western Hemisphere and many associated with the Indo-Caribbean Cultural Center and the countries around that area have their annual leave in August, right? And so we decided we would do it here in August, also because it was Women's Month. And Mr. Singh was a great ambassador. And somebody always said to me, we have to look at women and the different aspects of it. For example, when did the Indian women first handle money? He said when they were in India, they did not handle money. Everything was done by the husband or the husband's father, but not by the women themselves. So he said, like, even his granny, when she came here, and when she had in 1908, when she became a widow, she had to now handle the money herself. And so therefore it resonated with him that we could have the event in August. But obviously there was some other force behind it because he was not going to be here from September onwards. So I want to just complete this slide by saying that Mr. Singh was the founder and member of several organizations in Vietnam that are still relevant today. So let's move to the next slide. Shalima, you can tell me when I should stop.
Yeah, let's bring Nash in a minute.
Okay, all right, there we go. So on this slide, it's just to show the different countries, that people that came to the conference and people that had an opportunity to speak to Mr. Singh. I've highlighted in color, so it's easy to spot. The next slide. Just quickly, the next slide, I'll just check what's important. Okay, and my first line is, yes, it's a great loss, but there's also a resplendent energy around the world to this moment, the passing of Mr. Singh. Okay, the next slide. Yes, he has completed 75 years of volunteering because he started in 1950 and we are now in 2025. And I remember that when it was his 67th year, he reminded me he was just like Mr. Nelson Mandela, who had spent 67 years in community work. The next slide. Okay, we've got these details about the 1950 when he started work, and this is Zela. Okay, the next slide. Okay, these are the different organizations. The next slide. further work that he has done. And one important thing to remember, he was always a part of boycotts. When boycotts needed to be held, he was a fervent supporter of that. Okay, next slide. Okay, so these are his diverse interests, right? The next slide. Okay, so these are all the publications which Naren has already mentioned. So the next slide. Okay, this speaks to indentured women. So we can go to the next slide. Okay, and these are some of the aspects that he wanted us to deal with. And I'm sure the 1860 will decide how they want to go through all of these aspects. The next slide.
Hang on, Cogs, go back to this one, please. I want you to outline each one, please. It was under 1860, under his leadership of the 1860, that several of these things were done, not so?
Yes, so we have made an application to the Minister of Basic Education for inclusion of history in the Indentured Laborers Foundation. But as Mr. Naren Rajvansi had mentioned, it's 7 years down the line and we're still waiting for some answers to this application. It was mentioned at the conference on the last day. So Nash or Naren can give you an update on the first point. The second point, the naming of a street in Durban. So we were thinking about naming a street, Devaram Street, but it was not finalized. It was, also there's application, and maybe at a later stage, Mr. Anand J. Raj can give us a little bit more information because I think, if memory serves me correct, he had started some discussion on this and he may be able to give us more. The next point, contacting the government of India to grant the blanket-free lifetime travel. I think Nash will be able to share some information on that and where we are with that and what's the latest, because a lot of groups have been formed here now in our country and they are working on this aspect, point number 3. And then point number 4, this has now been covered very nicely. I think the ICC tour visited this site in Verulam and we've seen the work that was done. In fact, the monument greatly, with great appreciation to Mr. Anand J. Raj for ensuring the completion of this project, the 1860 monument. So I basically was involved with other aspects of research and writing and doing the books and the articles, because within our committee, we all had different portfolios and different outreach projects, which we compiled. So maybe another program on these things can be held and the persons responsible for this can then provide some feedback.
Terrific.
So if we can just go, I just want to ensure I cover each a main point in each slide, so we can go further to the next slide. Yeah, okay, we can go. Okay, so this is okay, that's fine. All right, this is very important, where from 2010 to 2025, where he worked tirelessly, wrote, edited, proofed, and was interviewed using oral history methodology. And this comes out of a call that, the time is running out. So, and of course, the last point, the Unsung Heroes publication, we have done 3 publications already, and Mr. Singh has nominated persons for volume 2 and volume 3 to ensure that we interview elders in our community and record the information. Next slide, please. Okay, we've covered these most of these points already. Next slide. Yes, the song has ended, but the melody lingers on. Rest well, Mr. Singh. Thank you for spending so much of your time in service of the broader and now international community. Aspects of history have been captured through your personal testimonies and reflective memories. There's so much more to share. The song has ended. The melody lingers on. Miss you, Mr. Singh. Thank you.
As do we. And you've known him so long and you've had such a history with him. Absolutely wonderful, Crow. Thanks. Ladies and gentlemen, I hope you've been inspired by some of what she has shared. And to give you further information now, we want to bring you the eldest son of Mr. Singh. This is Naresh Kumar Singh. He served as an educator for 41 years and retired as a school principal. He remains actively involved in various civic and community initiatives. And now I think the table has turned, and we hope that he will be continuing a lot of his father's work. Welcome, Nash. You want to unmute that mic, please? Yeah, we can hear you now.
Hello. Can you all hear me?
Yes.
Are we good to go then?
Yeah?
Excellent. First of all, Prem Namaste to everybody who's watching this program around the world. And sorry, at the outset, I have to extend some thank yous, and this is very, very important that I do this right now. First of all, to the ICC. We want to say thank you to you for hosting this show tonight in memory of my father. I do understand it's a tribute to him and his legacy, but we want to change that a little bit with my segment, of course. We had a bit of a development last night, and after consultation with somebody who's very important to us in our family, we have decided that to give it a bit of a change in terms of theme, and also consider it, this program I'm talking about, as a celebration of his life. And that's another story to talk about, but it is a celebration as well as a tribute. Thank you for that. Then we have to say thank you for all those who assisted us during our funeral. It was quite a trying and dramatic period. So during the funeral, post-funeral, thank you to all those who assisted. Thank you to all those who did come. There's too many to mention right now, so I won't go there. Also, I want to thank all the presenters who came up to this evening and to listen to all those words, a bit emotional for us. And you did a fantastic job. All of you were close to my dad. All of you knew how he works. I will not be repeating anything that you have said because you've covered a lot of ground, and I'll try and go through various other aspects which have not been covered at all. At the same time, I must mention that the 1860 foundation was something very, very, I'm talking about the Verulam Indentured Laborers Foundation, was something that's very, very close to my father's heart. And I just want to spend a minute or two talking about them. Thank you to you for your efforts, for your dedication, for your commitment, and for the assistance that you offered to my father, and for the love and support. There's no words that I can find right now I can do justice to try and explain myself in terms of what you have done for my father. And the 1860 project, the Girimitya project, was something very, very close to his heart. And indeed, I think if he was right here, right now, he'd been very, very happy to hear of the latest developments, which I'll come to a little later, perhaps. I would like to talk about my father as I had known him as a son. This has not been covered here by anybody else, so I think that I should talk about this for a few minutes. But I cannot talk about my father without mentioning my mother. Those two were an actual pair. They were so close, they were so loving, they were just so into each other with just so many things, and they were the most wonderful parents we could ever ask for. In my case, unlike my two well-behaved brothers, I was the problem child, starting with adolescence. Cut long story short, I was a bit rebellious. I was the first, since I was the eldest, and I was the first one to leave the house and go out loafing and having a good time and having fun and not paying too much attention to schoolwork and later on college work. But still, they put up with me. I got my share of scolding and thought as well, yes. But they put up with me, and eventually I did manage to get through that college. Mom and Dad, thank you. They virtually forced me into college. After school, I had spent some time loafing around and not being a very good boy. But my father got some forms and he said, sign here, entrance to college to take up teaching. And I said, no, that's the last thing I want to do, take up teaching like you and your father. But anyways, I'm grateful that I finally got to college and I ended up being the third generation principal to retire from my family. I'm grateful for my father and my mother for the support and encouragement they gave me, as well as putting up all my nonsense. And I think now it's time that I repay them by trying to play a role in my father's footsteps. Don't think I can do what he did. I don't know if I can achieve what he can, but I think I need to have a serious look at doing things in that light. Then, if I have to look at our domestic front, what was it like at home? My father and my grandfather were amazing people. They were just school teachers, and those who know school teachers in this country never earned a lot of money. Even now, it's not the greatest of paying jobs, but it was far worse going back all those years. But they achieved various other things besides getting involved with communities and serving the public and so on. They achieved lots of other things, which now when I look back and I reflect on what they did, it's absolutely amazing to me to understand how my grandfather was able to travel to so many countries around the world, which must have been terribly expensive. But he liked traveling. So he had been to just about every country which he could find, which was suitable in those days. And my father, I look back now, he built this huge house, traveled a lot with my mother, always had brand new cars. Difficult thing to do, actually, if you look at it, because finances always was difficult thing. But he had made all of the achievements by doing a lot of sacrifice. My parents did away with a lot of luxuries in their lives. Lived comfortably, okay, it was fine. But they were very good at saving money, very good at money management, and very good at achieving things with the limited resource they had. And we as youngsters, we need to learn from that how to live lives which are really speaking not so lavish, not just not so much spending wildly, but money management was a big thing with my father. And then if I have to look at the journey of his involvement, which culminated in the 1860 project, and I know time is constrained, so I have to rush through this. But basically, it started off like this. As a young man, he had heard lots of stories from those around him, all the other elders. And it was all oral history, if you look at it now, transmitted down to him. And thereafter, he started making inquiries as to where his parents came from, and going back to India, they tried to find the roots going back and so on. And as time go on, he decided that being an amateur historian, that he had to find the history of Verulam and get it documented and written down. Of course, all this cannot be done in isolation. So he had lots of other people around him. You met Uncle Bobby early on, and there were dozens of other people. I cannot name all of them, just too many. But that was part of his journey of fact-finding, of recording history. They started a documentation center. They started a Verulam Historical Society, all to find out the history of Verulam. And by doing so, they had to interview lots of other families, chat to people about their past, and to see where can we go with this in terms of recording, because the white man never recorded our history. All that we were names and numbers on a piece of paper, and possibly where we went to go and work. That was it. but there was never recording of history of any type. And my father got to be very, very interested in this and very passionate about this. And long story cut short, the 1860 Veteran Indentured Laborers Foundation was created, and they had various projects which were initiated to try and find our history and to do research and to go forward. While all this was on a very domestic level, things changed when we had met the ICC. And I want to pay tribute to the ICC. Thank you for coming down to South Africa. I know some of the principals. There's Dr. Mavir and there's Shalima and I believe there's Shakira. I'm not sure if I missed out anybody. Forgive me if I have. But I have to now talk about the ICC, the 1860 in terms of two personalities. One personality at the stage. And Naveen, I'll call you now. We need a slide on Kogi, please. Right. My father's adopted daughter. He had quite a few, but this was a favorite. And I have to stop here for a moment. And I wanted to apologize to all those who I am not going to mention on the show because there are just too many, absolutely too many. But I have to give credit where it's due. And I have to give credit to this wonderful person here, Kogi. Kogi Archery has been at my father's side for years now. She has been the rock who helped my father so much. There's so many projects, I'm not going to go through the whole lot. But safe to say that, Cogs, my father depended on you, he trusted you, he had belief in you, he had faith in you, because he saw in you somebody who was like him, somebody who was passionate about capturing history, somebody who was passionate about indentured laborers, their trials, their tribulations, and to recognize what they had gone through, and to look at their legacy, what they've left us. We in South Africa today are in a fantastic situation compared to lots of people around the world, relatively speaking. We are well off. I think when the people from Trinidad and other overseas countries that come to visit, they were actually quite shocked at what we have achieved in various levels in terms of the things we have acquired, for example, the houses that we have, the kind of cars that we have, the kind of offices we run, the kind of businesses we run. So we've had a tremendous journey in this country with all the problems that we had, for sure. So Kogi, thank you for being so supportive of my father. You have done so much on a local level to do whatever you have done together with my father, and that is something we will never ever forget. And of course, my father has always asked me to stand by you, take care of you, look after you, and I guess right now, Cogs, you are stuck with me. I'll have to take my father's place. Right, Naveen, you've come to the second slides. Shalima is 8,000 miles away in your terms and about 13,000 kilometers. I have to pay special tribute to you. My father had to meet you. Kogi had to bring you here, Dr. Kumar as well. But I want to talk to you about you in particular. It's difficult to explain how and why, but my father felt a very special bond with you. Dr. Kumar as well. I don't want to leave him out of the conversation, but this is about you, this part of the segment. He felt this connection. He just felt that you were the one who would have to be trusted to take things forward for various reasons. All right, you are still pretty young. You got time on your side, and this project will be a long one, 10 years, 20 years. So it's going to be up to you to take it on an international platform. And if my dad was here right now, he would have been thrilled to hear about your conversation that you've had with the gentleman in Trinidad and the other people where you have now worked out a program where you're going to be developing documentaries and films Because my father always recognized something, that as an educator, you have to teach children in the way that they want to be taught, and not teach them in the way that you want to teach them. Because children today do not like to read. That's a fact. But when looking at visuals, looking at movies on any screen, that appeals to them. And he always believed that in going forward, we have to think out of a box. We cannot be living in closets, and we cannot be doing things the way we've been doing it year in and year out in terms of education. And when he heard about the program, he did tell me briefly, he was very thrilled about it, because now it would give people the opportunity to conduct research on a much greater scale when you're doing either BA or the MA or the PhD. And when you have papers being presented and theses being presented and so on, these will be taken very, very seriously. And of course, there'll be much research, and that's made him very, very happy. And I'm sure that he would want you to take this further. And why you? Because like Kogi, on a local level, he didn't tell me as much, but I could just sense it. In you, he saw somebody that he could have belief in, have trust in, have faith in. And I think he knew he could depend on you to do what he would like on a greater scale. And thank you for all your efforts so far, Dr. Mohammed also. But if my father has to come back right now onto this earth and just spend a minute and say something to you, well, reflecting on the movie Gone By, Humphrey Bogart, words, yes, look at you, kid. And I know he's looking at you. He's got his hand on your shoulders. And Kogi's, of course. Going forward, he's going to be depending on you. I think I'll stop there. Thank you. Namaste.
Thank you.
Mute.
Thank you very much. You know, when we start planning for every program, it takes time, it takes a lot of effort. And this one was a little bit difficult because we had to pull things together very quickly. Everything you just said just reminded me why we do what we do. And I really appreciate everything that you've just said. I hope that we could actually fulfill some of the things that he had hoped we can. We will try. Thank you so much. Ladies and gentlemen, I want to open the floor now. Shirley, Roy, Lavan, Hazel, anybody else who's in the audience, I see you, MK. Anybody else in the audience who would like to say something? We have just a few minutes, and this is your opportunity to do so. Please go ahead. Feel free to raise your electronic hand to let us know that you would like to say something about Mr. Singh, or just show us by video. MK, go ahead, please.
Okay, Narayan, if I may call you Narayan, you can call me Mohammed. I had never met your father. I've been to Natal only twice in my lifetime, probably 3 times. But as a South African, I feel deeply enriched by hearing the story of the indentured laborers. We are from the Transvaal, and a lot of this narrative was never told to us. Today, I feel very enriched with all that I've heard of the resilience, the sacrifice, the work, and the achievement. So I wanted to say thank you to you. Kogi, I'd like to say thank you to you. I'm just so sad that I couldn't come to South Africa this time. And I know that I must say thank you to Selvan Naidu that he brought me into touch with Kumar Mahabir and Shalima. And then Shalima and Kumar adopted me as a family member in Trinidad. So I feel so much part of this beautiful family that you're mentioning, that every word you were mentioning, Naren, resonated with me. I will just say one little word that Kogi, in your research, if you come across anything to do with R.K. Khan, would you please let me know? Because R.K. Khan was from the Ismaili community that I belong to. He came from India in 1894. And I can't find his South African family. I know about his Indian family because I interviewed them 30 years ago in Pune. But he had an Indian wife and then he married a white woman who came to South Africa with him. So in any of your interviews or anything you do, if you come across R.K. Khan, the man who gave these hospitals or that, he was a follower of the Aga Khan. He was an Ismaili Muslim. And he left 43,000 pounds for the relief of charity for the Indian people in 1943. It's a field that we would be very interested in getting to know more about. So I would be grateful for that. And Shalima, thank you very much for being such a wonderful bridge for the Girmit Trail. You are a bridge. You were born to be a bridge. You and Kumar. Thank you so much.
It's a team effort. Thank you. Thank you, MK. Cogs, you wanted to say something?
Yes, so I will put you into contact with Mr. Kiro Naidu. Oh, I think you might know Kiro Naidu because he has done a book on the history of Chatsworth. So I think he would be your first port of call. And my second point is that on the 28th of September, we are going to be hosting a thank you to all of the persons who made the 165th anniversary a success. So we're going to be hosting that on the 28th of September. The invitations will go out, and we're also going to be paying tribute to Mr. Singh on the day as well. Just want to share that. Thank you. And thank you, Nash. Thank you.
Terrific. Thank you all very much. I'm not seeing any other raised hands, and I'm wondering if Shirley and they may have retired already for the evening. I don't know why they haven't said anything. Hazel, I see your comment. Thank you. Could you please unmute your mic? We'd love to hear you. Roy, go ahead, unmute your mic. And if you like, you can just say whatever it is that you'd like to share. Pretend we're still there in South Africa. Go ahead, Hazel.
Hi, Shalima, and good evening, everybody. I just wanted to say that it was such an honor to be part of the conference and to be part of the ICC family as well. And, my relationship with Mr. Jay Singh goes back a long way when I first was trying to find myself, when I was still in my 20s, trying to find myself. And I made my way to the Sri Gopalal temple to join satsang. And he was one of the first people that I did encounter. And what an inspiration. What a legacy he's left behind. And I remember Mrs. Savvy Singh as well. She was such a pure soul, a nightingale. She had the most beautiful voice, sang the most beautiful bhajans as well. And, they took us by the hand and led us forward. And I'm so indebted to them. And I'm so grateful that I had the opportunity to meet them and to be part of their extended family as well. So thank you.
Wonderful, Hazel. Thank you for sharing that. Shirley, Anand, let's hear from you as well. It was really nice
Hello.
being with you. Go ahead.
Hello.
Yes, Shirley, we hear you.
Okay, I just want to say Uncle Jay Singh shared a very, very special bond with Anand and I. He used to always confide in us. We are going to really miss him. And I know the whole community of Verulam will be missing him. I'm not going to go into all the details. We have heard so many good things about him, and the time is running out. but we did share very, very, very special bond with him. Thank you, Shalima.
Thank you. Miss you
Hi,
guys.
Shalima. Hi,
Hi.
Shalima. It's Roy.
Yeah, go ahead, please, Roy.
Yes, I share very close. I shared a very close bond with Mr. Singh. Not a day we would go past that he wouldn't call me or I'll call him to like do his errands, type his report, check on his medical prescriptions, phone his pharmacist. I really do miss that, and it's very heartbreaking. But we had we gained so much knowledge from him. He was our true inspiration. Nisha would like to say something.
Hi, Shalima.
Hi.
Hi. Good evening to our dear friends and Parivar. We miss you all a lot. And I just want to share a very quick, I know the time is running out, just my last day with Uncle Jay Singh. It was on the day of his demise where I shared the last few hours just before he had passed on. I had visited the hospital for my own errands, and I decided to go into his ward, and they did assist me. The nurses did say no problem, I could visit him. And I just shared this moment where he saw me, and he was all he was saying, he was sitting there very confident and saying to me that, he just saw me, he said, Anisha, namaste. Can I just have a few things to say to you? The doctor said he has no more treatment for me. His treatment is done, and I am discharged. I want Nash to fetch me. And please phone Roy and tell him to arrange the wheelchair for me. And at that moment, he sat so confidently, like he's coming home in recovery. And all I said to him is, Uncle, don't you worry, everything will be taken care of. Least did I know that would have been my last conversation. But I thank God that I had this conversation with him, and I felt good because his last instructions was very important to say what his life will be after he leaves the hospital. And thank you to all of you, Kogi, and everybody, the LOC, all the members, to give us an opportunity to share these moments, close moments with all of you, and share this bond that Uncle has helped us with. Thank you.
Oh, thank you so much, Anisha. And
Hi, can I come in?
Yes, go ahead.
Can you hear me? Sorry, Kogi asked me to comment on two things, and I neglected to do that. If I may just quickly have a minute just to talk about those. All right. First of all, the Indian government has not been too cooperative with us here in South Africa in terms of those travel visas. It's not been said to us too openly, but we do believe that they're not too happy about the corruption in South Africa in terms of what we call our Home Affairs Department, which issues out travel documents so easily at the drop of a hat. You can virtually buy a passport, you can buy an ID card, you can buy just about anything. And the problem is that we've been given to understand that too many unsavory characters have been using South Africa as a departure point to get into India. And there's all sorts of people going up there, which the Indian government and authorities are not too happy about. So there are some difficulties in terms of getting through the government there to be looking favorably and kindly upon us here. On the second point, on the education department's response to our application to have Girmitya stories in the curriculum has met with, well, it's problematic. Problem is they don't talk about it loudly as well in this one, but it's political. We are just over 1% of the population in this country. And when you are a minority, anywhere in the world, you're not looked upon and take very, seriously and so on. So that is our difficulty. Also, there is a lot of problems with certain sectors in our political arenas. There are unfortunately individuals who are not very happy with us Indians for being Indians and for being so, progressive and creative it has led to issues where we are not very liked, and I have to be blunt and open about this. There are lots of people who don't like Indians. We have been told on various occasions, go back to Mumbai, but that's another story. So, but coming back to that issue, it's going to be a difficult road. Just don't take us seriously because we are not a major player when it comes to elections. We are too small to contribute to numbers to get, certain political parties into power. Example, the majority party. So that is a reality. I forgot to mention this one particular bit about Shalima, and I'm sorry about that. My father was not somebody who was prone to making emotional statements whenever he was on a public platform. He was normally very businesslike, very to the point, very direct, and very formal. Sometimes he tried to indulge in some humor here and there, but he was never, ever emotional when he stood up to talk to a crowd. And for the first time in my life, I saw that change was that night at the temple. And he said something which, just hit me between the eyes. And Dr. Mahavir also was a bit moved by it. It's a simple statement, but it meant a lot. Knowing my father, I know how much it meant when he declared that Shalima, well, he mentioned that God had sent him a daughter. Now, Shalu, you had to come to this country, thanks to Kogi. She brought you guys here and Dr. Mahavir. But you had to come here. You had to meet with my father. I think that you were the final link in his Girmitya chain, the last one. That was you. Also, I know this. In terms of taking things to overseas platform and elsewhere, you, to quote Jose Mourinho here, you were the chosen one. Yep, you were his chosen one. And I want to thank you for that. Thank you.
Thank you for that, Nash. I was very
Shalima,
honored when I heard that, and I do not take it for granted. I do not take it lightly. Thank you.
Shalima,
Yes, dear?
there's someone online who is in India, who's moved to India, but she is formerly from Vietnam, and she would like to share on this platform. I've seen a message from her.
Yeah.
And by the way, I used to be the secretary at the Sri Gopalal temple during Mr. Singh's time when he was very actively involved there as well. The lady that's online, her name is Sharon Devnarayan. So I don't know if you guys want to unmute her.
All right, sure, no problem. Sharon?
Okay, I'll try to do that.
Yeah.
Let me find her. Meanwhile, let's hear Baba Shahjanan. Just be brief.
Thank you. I have Shalima ji, Kumar Sapkoi. I have learned a lot, and dil chhu gaya. That is what I can tell. No, but the son of Singh ji. What is your name, sir? What's your name?
Nash. His name is Nash.
Acha. Okay, what you told about the curricula in the schools, wait for this. Shalima knows what I'm talking about.
So does he. We've had a lengthy conversation, so he knows as well what's coming.
Okay, but don't afraid. Biswas karo, you are going to do. If you cannot honor yourself, bhai, nobody is going to honor you. Atmanirbhar. Do you understand that? Self-reliance. We are coming. We are coming also in Africa.
Thank you, Baba. Sharon, go ahead, please.
Yes. Thank you, Hazel, for letting me have this opportunity. I'd just like to say that I grew up in front of Mr. Jay Singh, and I had the wonderful opportunity of having him and his wife very close to my heart. everything I did with satsang was basically unfolded from him. And when I took very ill, he stood as a strong pillar to me. And even though I was in India, I think losing him, I felt that I lost a part of me. So he is that kind of a great man. And all the words that were echoed to me today, I was really surprised that he was involved in so many things at the same time. So thank you very much for giving me this opportunity of saying that. I just wanted you all to know that I've been brought up with Mr. Jay Singh and his late wife, the late Mr. Jay Singh and the late Savitri Singh, commonly known as Auntie Savi. Thank you.
You're welcome, Sharon. And from his daughter to you, you're welcome to join this family anytime. We would love to have you. We share something in common. We would love to have you. So you're not alone. Thank you. Jainai, go ahead, please. Jay?
Yeah, am I muted still?
No, we can
Yeah,
hear
go
you
ahead. Go
now.
ahead. You can turn
Go
on your
ahead.
camera.
Off the camera, yeah.
You can turn
I
your
got
camera.
a few things. I was the unlucky one because I only met Mr. Jay Singh at the conference and at the temple hall, just a short period. And I didn't have a chance of discussing the politics or the Indian question, now that I'm hearing a lot from others. Secondly, I left him that evening and told him that the temples that were built in South Africa, 8 of them were built by my grandfather, and he wanted to know the name. And him being a historian, as I hear, he was keen and he asked me to send the list to him so that he can visit and he can find out. And I didn't have that opportunity, so I'm giving it to this eldest son to carry on the banner and go and look at these temples. On another issue, the question of Indian documentation for visits and so on, I started this program in the 90s when the time I had the first complete ships lists, and I gave those names and the numbers that were for the indentured Indians from my family, from my wife's family, and they used those numbers and got visas and they got to India quite easily. And a lot of them in the family and the environment. On one issue, I want to talk about the Indians. I was in the Sydenham branch of the Indian Congress, and the Indians in South Africa are not united, number one. Number two, they are opportunists in the Indian community from the 60s right up to the 90s. And I left in 1976. Right up to 1976, I was teaching. And the Indian Council, certain sectors of the Indian community had been used like how the British used the divide and rule principle, and they were divided. You had academics, you had business people, and you had the working class. So we in the working class saw very clearly how the opportunism grew. And the Indian community in South Africa, I'm in South Africa right now, and I'm saying it loud and clear, that if they don't unite as we united in the 60s and the 70s, we are going to have problems in South Africa. So having said that, it's the Indian community is destroying the Indian community by not uniting. And that's the key question. They have to unite. People from the south of
Point noted, Jay. We are past our time. So
no,
let
I
me-
hear you.
Yeah.
I didn't expect to be speaking, but when I got few things, I have to say it. And whether you like it or not, you are in the Caribbean. You don't know South Africa, period. So please listen to me carefully. I'm saying.
Okay, ladies and gentlemen, we need to focus on the point at hand, and we also need to focus on the reason why we are here. It is now 5:24 p.m. It is very late in South Africa. Jay, I really appreciate your comments. We will continue with this conversation another day. I just want to point out at this point in time that a lot has been done in South Africa, and there are people in this room who are doing significant work in trying to unite. It's going to take a lot more people. As you well know, it's going to take a lot more people, but the work has begun. So we really appreciate that. Ladies and gentlemen, we've come to the end of the program, but before we bring Shakira to formally close, I want to say that we've had an opportunity earlier this week to have some celebrations. So we want to celebrate the 65th anniversary of the independence of Trinidad and Tobago today. We did not choose to celebrate independence. We chose to spend our time here with you all talking about someone who's done something very significant for people of Indian descent in his country. But we want to take the opportunity to extend belated birthday greetings to his son, Bimal, as well as Kogi's sister, Vani, who celebrated their birthdays on Wednesday, August 27th. Tomorrow, interestingly, or is it in a short while, Nash will be celebrating his birthday on September 1st. And we wish you all long life, healthy lives, and a lot of productivity and continuing the good work that Mr. Singh has done. Navin, do you have something for us to celebrate this moment? happy birthday, Nash. And happy belated to Bimal and to Vani. If Mr. Singh was here, I'm sure he'd be celebrating with you in just a little while. All the best to you. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you all for being here. Over to Shakira now.
Thanks, Anne. So that was a mixture of the Happy Birthday tune and Bada Bada Duniya Aayi with Indian Raga Manj Kamaj and with a young exponent, Samarjit Sen, and some of his students, Jasleen Code on sitar, Vivek Verma on guitar, Parmeet Singh on keyboard, and Amandeep Singh on tabla. So we want to thank everyone for joining today. And our topic next Sunday will be the challenges and benefits of applying for the OCI card to become an overseas citizen of India. So we want to thank the planning team led by Dr. Kumar Mahabir and Shalima Mohammed. I am Shakira Mohammed of Trinidad and Tobago saying goodbye. May God bless you all. Dhanyavad.